Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Flying Squirrels, and by
Clean water is one of our most valuable resources. Conserving it should be all of our responsibility. Remember every day to make every drop count. Wash full loads, take shorter showers, turn off your faucet. Water, use it wisely. Let's commit to conserve.
Get ready for another trip to Funville. Jay and Sam will get you set for the second half of the season as the Squirrels look ahead for a playoff push. Ray Black has made the jump from the Boulevard to the Bay, and RVA welcomes back Pesto Presto. Next, we get a report from the AllStar Game and look ahead to the 2019 edition that is coming to Richmond. Plus, pitcher Sam Wolff visits FSI Field to talk about walkout songs, pitch clocks, and passed balls. Grab your glove. Flying Squirrels Insider starts right now.
And welcome back into Flying Squirrels Insider. We've got an action-packed show for you today as the Flying Squirrels have emerged from the All-Star break and ready to climb up the Western Division standings over the last 40 games. We'll break it all down for you here on the Desk segment. But first, we'd like to remind you that Flying Squirrels Insider is brought to you by Utility Buddy from the City of Richmond Department of Public Utilities. They make us aware of rain that falls on hard surfaces and can pick up pollutants and carry them to Richmond's waterways without being treated. Help keep our waterways stay clean. Call 646-7000 or visit richmondgov.com and click Stormwater Utility. Also, we're giving away free stuff as we always tend to do. Text us to win FSI to 63975. Message and data rates may apply. Mobile services provided by Opt-in Technologies. With that said, I'll bring in my broadcast partner, Sam Ravitch. And Sam, let's start with the Western Division standings. Not the best look for the Flying Squirrels, but certainly upward mobility is there.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think when you look at the Western Division, if you're the Squirrels, you're kind of thankful that you're in the Western Division as opposed to the Eastern Division. Look, I mean, you head into the weekend, 4 games back from Altoona in second place, and there's still a lot of baseball left to play. I mean, plus 90 games in, you're looking up. You're not looking down, which I think is more important.
They've struggled against teams in their own division. However, the Squirrels have a big series coming up against first place Akron next week. But really, the number you're looking at is that 4 back from Altoona, a team you've also haven't been able to have a lot of success against this year.
No, the Western Division's been tough for whatever reason this year for the Squirrels. They played well in the Eastern Division, and I think they've seen a lot of Eastern Division teams. But when you look at the Western Division, you're playing below 500. You always want to play above 500 in your division. But yeah, you're right. And I think the 4 games is certainly doable, but you're also going to need some help from other opponents in the Western Division to lose some games so you can climb up the standings a bit.
How about taking down some of the teams in the East? We talked about the Trenton Thunder earlier on this season. They've been one of the best teams in the Eastern League, and the Flying Squirrels for the second consecutive year have a winning record against them.
And one of the best pitching teams, not only in the Eastern League, but I would make the guess in minor league baseball. I mean, their ERA is consistently around the 2.8, 2.9 as a team, a little bit higher this year, and not a very offensively threatening team. But the Squirrels have been able to just manufacture wins against the Trenton Thunder for whatever reason there may be. I think, you play up to your competition, they say, and the Trenton Thunder are certainly competition that the Squirrels have played up to.
So the Squirrels right around 500 coming out of the All-Star break, and really after 3 days off, they wanted to play more baseball because it was an extra inning festival in Trenton. The Flying Squirrels split the 4-game series last weekend, played consecutive extra inning games coming out of the break.
For the first time, too, this season, the Squirrels have played consecutive extra inning games. It's not easy on the bullpen, especially the back end of the bullpen where you have guys getting called upon on back-to-back days. And I think the Squirrels in Richmond, as well as the Giants organization, have done a pretty good job of spacing out their relievers throughout the course of the season and trying not to have everyone pitch in back-to-back days. But I think you also note earlier on that we've played a lot of extra inning games, but we've also got some short starts from the starting rotation. And I think the back end kind of sees the brunt of that.
We're going to talk with one of those relievers. Sam Wolff will join us here on set. The extra innings, the extra inning rule. Some like it, some don't like it. Actually, some loathe it, but it has saved arms going through the course of the season. All right, speaking of arms, Sean Anderson, a guy that has joined us here on the show, one of the lead pitchers for the Flying Squirrels rotation. We talked about it on the last show, was picked by the Giants to represent San Francisco in the Futures game in Washington, D.C. last Sunday, and after that, Anderson was announced that he's getting a call up to AAA, and deservedly so.
A great week for Sean Anderson, huh? I mean, you get a couple of phone calls. You get one saying you're an Eastern League All-Star. Then you one-up that and say, all right, you're a futures game guy. And then you get the call up to AAA. So what a week for Sean Anderson. But, he's a big league arm, and everyone says that. But they talk about how he's a student of the game. And he's one of those guys that'll be in the dugout charting even when it's not his day to chart. And he's one of those guys that'll be watching film even when he doesn't have to. And I think that's kind of what, will excel him quicker through the organization. I think obviously he has a talent too, coming from a school like Florida. But congratulations to Sean Anderson. He's going to be sorely missed by the Flying Squirrels, not only on the field, but in the clubhouse. He was always kind of a quiet, funny guy.
So how do you replace him in the rotation? And one of the answers might be left-hander Connor Menez, who on Monday struck out 9 batters over 7 innings. Unfortunately, didn't get the win. Another name that we're hearing a blast from the past from 2012. Hesto Presto, Chris Heston has returned to the Flying Squirrels.
It's always good when you can have a guy who threw a no-hitter back in 2015 on
the big leagues.
In the big leagues, by the way, against New York Mets, which is my favorite team to throw a no-hitter against. But no, it's great to have Hesto Presto back, and I think he's a guy that, when you look at the numbers over the last couple of years, he's kind of bounced around some organizations, the Giants picking him up in the offseason to a minor league contract. And look, if you have him here for an extended period of time, that's great. I mean, in his first appearance, 4 scoreless innings out of the pen for him. He's still got that curveball. The velocity may be down a little bit, but the strikeout numbers are there too.
Certainly, and speaking of Flying Squirrels that have been able to pick it up, how about Aramis Garcia? This is a guy that struggled at the beginning of the year, a former second-round pick for the San Francisco Giants. Garcia, arguably the hottest hitter right now for the Richmond Flying Squirrels.
I would say so. Probably Aramis Garcia and Dylan Davis are guys that we talk about are going to take a load of the Jerry Sands kind of task that's left behind when Jerry gets called up, and he did. Who's going to drive in all of these runs? Aramis Garcia is a guy who, we saw hit a couple of home runs in the last week. It just seems like he's a little more confident at the plate. And you can also tell that in his personality, too. In the clubhouse, he's a little bit more lighter, and he's having more conversations with the guys. But in the beginning of the season, it was really tough just to make contact for Aramis. He was striking out a lot. He was hitting below 200 in the month of April, and then started to climb it up, and then hit above 280 in the month of June. So really good to see him starting to swing.
Absolutely, and Giants fans certainly happy to see what Garcia has been able to do. Lastly, we talked about it earlier on this season. I think I made a bold proclamation on this desk that Ray Black would pitch at the big leagues. Guess what? On July the 8th, Ray made his major league debut.
And a guy who's battled so many injuries throughout his career, but still is a guy that is just kind of a brunt force out of the pen, and he's intimidating. I mean, he'll come out and shove 100 in your face and then not apologize afterwards. So it's really good to see Ray Black get up in the big leagues and get a chance. But, yeah, I was reading something earlier. He has one of the highest spin rates in Major League Baseball this year, which is a new kind of stat that you're looking at.
Great to see Ray up there. That'll do it for us here on the desk segment. Sam, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, more to come here on Flying Squirrels Insider. All that, and we didn't even mention the AllStar Game. Well, it was hosted in Trenton, New Jersey this year, and we'll take you behind the scenes to see exactly how the Flying Squirrels All-Stars did. Coming up next on Flying Squirrels Insider. The second half of the 2018 baseball season for the Richmond Flying Squirrels began here at Arm & Hammer Park in Trenton, New Jersey. Coincidentally, home of the 2018 Eastern League All-Star Game, a game that the Flying Squirrels franchise was certainly well represented in.
That one swung on, lifted high in the air, left center field. The center fielder looks up, and you can't forget it. Solo home run, Luigi Rodriguez. And the Richmond Flying Squirrels outfielder has given the Western Division the lead here in the 8th inning. It's 4-3.
We all kind of wanted to come here and represent the Squirrels well, and I think we did that. Obviously our team won. Luigi, big hit MVP. Slaney come and get a big out, and then Mac throwing well too. So it was exciting, and hopefully we can all use it as a springboard.
Well, Dylan McNamara has been brilliant over 18 relief appearances for Richmond this season, and there's strike 2 on Mazika.
I mean, the whole experience from the first day we got here, I thought it was all done really professionally. In the game, it's kind of a weird, setup because you're excited to be there, but it's also not a real game. You're not pitching with as much purpose as you'd like to, or in a regular Squirrels game. But I had a great time.
And it appears right-hander Dan Slania of the Richmond Flying Squirrels is on his way into the game.
It was definitely a fun couple days being up here in Trenton, and then just being able to be a part of the game and being able to the home run derby and everything like that. It's always fun, even throwing one pitch and get one out.
And the first toss is swung on and lifted high in the air off the bat of the shortstop, Brendan Rogers. Shortstop Howard is out. Called off by the center fielder, Kalika, who makes the catch. We should know that this game will not go to extra innings. 0-2 pitch. Lifted to left. Rodriguez there. He makes the catch. And the Eastern League All-Star Classic must be decided by a special home run derby. We sent around an email maybe 2 weeks ago that said, hey, in the event the game is tied after 9 innings, this is what we're going to do. And I was literally pulling that up in my email as the game finished tied in the 9th inning and saying, okay, this is what we're doing now. Participants were selected, one for each side, given 2 minutes to hit. 5 points for any ball that lands in left field or right field, 10 points if it lands in center, 100 points if it goes over the wall for a home run, 150 points if it hits the batter's eye in center field, which did not end up happening.
I thought maybe the PA announcer would explain it to everybody. Okay, you get this for that. This was nothing. Just got in the box and took some swings. I don't even know if Craig and Green knew what they were doing, just swinging.
7 seconds. He lifts it to center again. Green needs a home run. Did he do it? High in the air to left. He's at 270, and it lands short of the wall, and the Western Division has won the 2018 Eastern League All-Star Classic. You know, Rodriguez was the star for the Western Division. He took over the MVP award by hitting the go-ahead solo home run in the 8th inning of the game. It was tied at 3 at the time, and he hit it off of Trenton left-hander Caleb Frere, who's been outstanding this year. And he took home Bush's Beans MVP award honors for that home run last night, despite the Eastern Division tying it in the bottom of the 9th.
I know it's going to be in Richmond next year. I'm sure Parney's going to do a heck of a job with it. Guys should look forward to that.
When people come here next year, I want there to be signs and marquees and billboards welcoming people to All-Star Week. I want business owners to be genuinely excited about the opportunity we have as Richmonders to show off. This is our chance to show off not only to the Eastern League, but to all of baseball. Expect the Richmond Raceway to be heavily involved. Expect the Tourism Bureau to be, Richmond Regional Tourism to be very much involved. All the things that people might enjoy going to in different places in town, like Scott's Addition, The Fan, King's Dominion. I mean, you name it, we're going to want everybody to have access to these places. The 2019 Eastern League experience will be second to none for decades to come.
We're here at FSI Field with Flying Squirrels relief pitcher Sam Wolff. And Sam, thanks for taking the time today.
Absolutely, thank you.
I want to start off, you and I have something in common. I'm not sure if you know this or not. We both went to 3 schools.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about your journey growing up in South Dakota and then eventually ending up in New Mexico?
Yeah, grew up in South Dakota my entire life, born and raised. Ended up going out to San Diego my freshman year of college, so that was a big jump in itself.
Not a bad place to be, right?
Not a bad place at all. Like I said, went on a recruiting trip in December. Going from December in South Dakota to December in San Diego is a pretty easy adjustment to go there. And then following that, went to College of Southern Nevada in Henderson, Nevada.
Which is the Bryce Harper school. That's what it's known for, huh?
Yeah, missed him by just a year. And then right after that, went to University of New Mexico.
Spent 2 years there.
Yep.
Describe to the fans here kind of how an opposing team would scout you. What would they say about your repertoire and what you do on the mound?
I have a fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. I come in and like to use my fastball a lot, confident with it. I'm kind of a bulldog on the mound in a sense of I go right at the hitter and try to make the hitter beat me. So.
And this is your first year in the Giants system. In fact, you kind of got word that you were traded from the Rangers as the team that drafted you coming out of New Mexico to San Francisco when? During the offseason, right?
Yep, during the offseason. I was actually I had surgery in August with the Rangers and was out there doing physical therapy until December 15th and was actually on my drive back home when I got the call and said, you've just been traded. And so it was kind of a whirlwind, but, kind of an early Christmas present.
Yeah. And so then you make your way to the Giants system and you join the Flying Squirrels during this month because you were down in Arizona rehabbing that injury. Kind of where are you in your progress from coming back from surgery?
Yeah, just, more than anything, getting the reps, getting out, in the game atmosphere, on the mound again, the innings, getting my feet wet. And it's been great. I mean, the Giants have done an incredible job making sure that I'm healthy, back, ready to go, ready for game action. And like I said, it's just been a fun process.
Is that difficult? Is there pressure when you get traded? I mean, the trade was Matt Moore, who was with the Giants last year. Is there any pressure kind of being the guy that gets swapped for a big league player?
Not so much pressure, but, obviously you want to make a great first impression.
Yeah.
You want to do well. It's a new organization, new coaches, new front office, new players, new teammates. You definitely want to make a good first impression and, let people know the reason you're there. So.
One guy, actually, you've known, Jake McCaslin, who is a Flying Squirrels starting pitcher, started the year in the bullpen. We actually had a bit here on the show called Beard or No Beard. Jake had a big beard at the beginning of the season. What did he look like in college, and how's that relationship been with you and him?
He didn't have the thick beard that he does now, but, he still looked very similar. It was fun getting to play with Jake in college. I mean, he's, you've met him, and great guy. Can't say enough good things about him. And so it's been fun to kind of rekindle that, teammate and that relationship now that we're with the Flying Squirrels.
You were drafted a couple of times, signed with the Rangers, spent 2 years at New Mexico as we talked, Southern Nevada, San Diego. Who in your journey has influenced you or helped you out the most in terms of being successful on the mound? Tough question.
To be honest, probably my wife.
Really?
Yeah, truly. I'm one that can be very critical of myself. My worst, critic. Judge everything that I do, in my outings and stuff. And she's one that just keeps my mind focused and, in a sense, the pressure off. Reels me back in when I, need it.
And you guys were recently married too, coming before the trade, right? After the surgery. And she's an athlete in her own right, isn't she?
She is, and that's what's, I think, incredible about our relationship is we're able to talk about, athletics and baseball and the competition, and, she's able to relate to it from her standpoint of being a former athlete. And so it's huge to have her as, kind of my support and kind of backbone, to fall back on at times.
Yeah, especially if you have a tough outing and you start second-guessing yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you being here. We're going to keep you on set because we're going to have you show us a couple of fun things on this FSI set. Sound good?
Sounds good, Jeff.
All right, more to come here on Flying Squirrels Insider, joined by Sam Wolff.
There's another strikeout and another donation from Virginia Credit Union.
In our community, there's an organization that's working to provide access to good quality, nutritious food for everyone. That organization is Feed More. Virginia Credit Union is very proud to work with Feed More and the Richmond Flying Squirrels to highlight that issue and the important work that Feed More does. We have a program that we work together on called Strikeout Hunger. Every time a Richmond Flying Squirrels pitcher strikes out someone from the other team, we make a contribution to Feed More. And at the end of the season this year, we're on track to reach $25,000 in that program over the last several years.
They're an amazing organization. When you hear the numbers of just locally who they provide for and the number of meals that they can give to families that need it right here in Richmond, it's pretty unbelievable. We've done it the past couple of years. We've taken some of our players over to Feed More, which is our neighbor right around the corner here. And we've done some different things. This year when we went, we actually helped make some of the food and package up some of the food that they then deliver for Meals on Wheels. This year we had Jerry Sands and Dan Slania over there, as well as our pitching coach Glenn Dishman came and lended a hand. Towards the end of the season, we do a check presentation where members of Virginia Credit Union come out and give the check to representatives from Feed More. And I think we usually try to recognize the players during that time as well that have been able to come help out. Virginia Credit Union's been awesome at making sure that we get involved with them when they do their volunteer day as well, so that's been a lot of fun.
Virginia Credit Union employees enjoy working as volunteers at the Feed More warehouse and in the community kitchen, preparing meals for Meals on Wheels. And members of the credit union often contribute food at our document shredding days that we contribute to Feed More. All of this to make sure that there's good, quality, nutritious food available for those who need it, our friends and neighbors.
There's another strikeout and another donation from Virginia Credit Union's strikeout hunter.
Back here at FSI Field, I've got Sam Ravitch and Sam Wolff. And gentlemen, we're going to talk about some of the key components of coming out of the bullpen. And Sam, it starts with the music, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You got to have a good walkout song.
Okay, so what is your, I know you have a couple that you rotate, but the PA plays a specific song for each relief pitcher. It's your choice, right?
Right.
What is your song?
Mine would be Dire Straits, Money for Nothing. I kind of go between that one and then Running Out of Moonlight by Randy Houser.
Okay, Sam, do you approve of those songs?
I do. I like the country. Randy Houser's only got a couple of really good songs, and that's one of them, so I'll approve of that.
Dire Straits, one of my favorite. Okay, so you got this music playing.
Right.
You're up. It's your turn to come into the game. Are you running into the game? Are you jogging? Are you full sprint? How do you approach getting out on the mound?
I start with just a nice slow walk to begin, and then it builds up into kind of a nice easy jog into the mound.
A little of a crescendo then.
Exactly, exactly, yeah. I mean, that's, everybody's first view and first, look at who's coming into the game, so you definitely want to hit it with a good run.
But it's changed this year, or rather last year, I should say, because there's new rules for minor league baseball in terms of the amount of time. They're trying to speed up the game a little bit. So you're on a clock to get from the bullpen to the mound and then get your first pitch in.
Yeah, so that's one thing you definitely want to be kind of attentive to is, you have, I think, 2 minutes, 25 seconds, from crossing the line, to jog into the mound, to get your warm-up pitches in and, deliver your first pitch.
2:25, is that enough time?
I don't know. Do you like the new rules? As far as the pitch clock, does it even bother you? Because you can see it. The clock is right behind home plate on the either side, so you can see it.
I mean, I've kind of had the same, warm-up and everything for the last 5-6 years, so even before the pitch clock was in play. And it's never really bothered me or, affected, my pace at all. I know that there have been some guys that they used to walk literally from the bullpen all the way into the mound, so that's something that it does speed up the game a little bit, which is nice.
It's a good idea. A guy that comes to mind, Carlos Alvarado, a Flying Squirrels relief pitcher, really took his time to get out there, so certainly kind of try to speed him up. All right, so you're juiced up, you get on the mound, and we're going to take you through a scenario. Sometimes, actually a lot of times, guys out of the bullpen come in with runners on base. It's an unclean inning, as they say. We're going to take through a scenario with a guy at third. And unfortunately, we're going to put you in a situation where you throw a wild pitch, all right?
Yep.
What are the pitcher's defensive responsibilities with a guy on third base coming on in and throwing a ball past the catcher? We'll call it a pass ball. How about that? Not a wild pitch.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah. Pass ball. All of them
Catcher's
are, right?
fault.
Yeah. So, I mean, it happens. Ball gets by, runner on third base. Your job is to go cover home plate. You're the only person that, has the chance to possibly make that out. And kind of cover up that wild pitch or pass ball. So basically, ball goes by, catcher goes back. You're kind of verbally telling the catcher where the ball is so he can, as quick as he can get there. You come into home plate, break down, give the catcher a nice, clean, easy target. He gets it to you. You make the tag and kind of get out of there.
So you're on this far side of the
right.
rubber.
Yeah, you're kind of standing right in front of home plate. You may even straddle it a little bit, but you definitely don't want to be up it a little bit or in front of the home plate because that's when you're going to get slid into.
So there's a little finesse to it where you got to.
A little bit, yeah. It's one of those things that you're trying to make the play, but you're also conscious of you need to stay in the game and you can't get slid into, taken out, or anything like that.
Now, for instance, if there's a guy on second base, how does that scenario change?
So, kind of similar in the sense of, pass ball, obviously home plate's open. He takes off for third. You're kind of, he's got third base. Your job is kind of get about halfway, at least let, the runner know that someone can cover and will beat him to the plate. So, that's about it. Like I said, most of the time, that runner's going to stay, so.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for being here today, Sam.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Sam as well. All right, more to come here on Flying Squirrels Insider. We're just about done on this episode. That'll about do it for us here on Flying Squirrels Insider. But before we go, let's take a look at what some of the Flying Squirrels players and Sam and I were up to during the All-Star break. Now, most people call 3 days off a long weekend. Sam, we call it an All-Star break, and it's a big to-do, isn't it?
It certainly is. You get some rest. I was up in Southampton with my lovely girlfriend. We were taking in some rays on the beach up there. It was beautiful, but I know you were also enjoying your time off.
I got some sunshine. My first time up in the Northern Neck. We were in Topping, Virginia with my beautiful wife, Cheyenne, and man, the Rappahannock River, not as good as the James, but certainly beautiful. Take a look at some of the other folks that we've been checking in on with Dylan McNamara. Of course, he was at the All-Star Game and had quite a few friends and family in tow. Connor Menez taking to the golf course. And Sam, this might not be a surprise, but our All-Star clubhouse manager, Joe Tarnowski, he was out golfing again.
Yeah, I think he just wants to kind of live on the golf course when he retires, if he ever retires. But yeah, he'll live on the golf course.
Eliezer Zambrano made the trip up to Washington, D.C. with his family, as you can see, and our pitching coach, Glenn Dishman, out on a boat. Sounds like a pretty good time for everybody involved. Sam, believe it or not, by the next show, it's going to be the last month of the year.
It's amazing, huh?
Indeed. We'll come back and tell you how the Flying Squirrels are approaching the trade deadline. That'll be in 2 weeks. Until then, for Sam Ravitch, Sam Wolff, and the entire crew here at Community Idea Stations and WCVE. Until next time, my name's Jay Burnham saying so long, everybody.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Flying Squirrels, and by
Smell gas? Act fast. Don't just stand there. Leave the area. Get out. Go where the smell is no longer present and call 911. Making you aware, keeping you safe. We're Richmond's Natural Gas Safety Awareness Program.